We were hoping maybe you could describe to us what the road to Strathcona Park looks like and like what somebody's first impression might be of the building.
No, that's a good question. I once wrote an article where that's where I started. You know, this road is winding along and you feel as if you might never get there. It's such a wonderful surprise, and out of the blue appears these buildings and the sign Strathcona Park Lodge.
My name is Jamie Boulding. I run Strathcona Park Lodge. It's a family business which has been around since 1959.
My first time there was in 1981, and it was people in Campbell River thought of it as a hippie town, and it was in a lot of ways.
My mother was a home ec teacher, and my father took a bunch of phys ed and recreation courses. So he had this idea he'd love to have a summer camp, and my mom thought maybe we should actually have a resort.
Myrna's father, Wallace Bakey, had acquired a piece of property on the east side of Upper Campbell Lake. The Power Commission had to log all of that valley there before they could put in Strathcona Dam. The Bakey brothers' property, it was all going to be underwater. So the Power Commission gave him quite a few acres. He said to Myrna and Jim, I have this property here, you should just use it for your camp. There was a beautiful lodge on the west side of the lake he knew of. They put some logs under the lodge so that as the water rose up during the flooding period, it would just drift along, and it took about a year, but it finally made its way over. They fixed it up and made lots of improvements and eventually turned it into a really beautiful place. And that was the very first Strathcona Lodge.
My mother had done all these things. She was into riding horses and got dragged off fishing with her father and everything else. And my father was a pretty adventurous kid doing all sorts of different things.
Because Jim was kind of fixated on this idea of having a boys' camp, they were trying to promote that, but it wasn't working very well because it wasn't really a popular idea on Vancouver Island. People had their own forms of recreation and they didn't need to send their children to camp. People would drive by and this beautiful lodge was sitting there, and they would pull in and say, "Can we stay here?" So Myrna said, well, they tumbled into tourism quite by accident.
They continued just to make ends meet. You know, we run for 2 months in the summer at the resort here. It wasn't until getting into the 70s there was more people wanting to be here and more people getting away from it all. I mean, there's a backpacking culture starting to arrive from the US. These new sports, this new outdoor sports thing was just sort of developing. My father was a bit of a philosopher, but he had many mentors. Probably his biggest one was Roderick Higg-Brown.
They became very good friends with the Higg-Browns, and they were very much influenced by Roderick Higg-Brown's way of thinking.
They decided to give up teaching and run the lodge full time, believing that even then, the kids are losing that connection to the outdoors.
Something I think that's unique to our programs at the Lodge is that we have a wide variety of programming that we offer. The core values that the Boulding family put together are really genuinely lived out on a day-to-day basis. We teach those to our students in our programs, and I think Those core values are what students will transfer into their life on a daily basis. Obviously, they learn how to paddle or how to camp outside, but also how to be a genuinely caring person or why it's important to care for the environment. Those transference pieces, the community tries to live out on a daily basis.
The way Myrna told me the story, she said that it was her birthday. So Jim felt that they should go into town and he was going to buy her flowers and make a big deal out of her birthday, but it was while they were in town that the lodge started on fire. Fortunately, at that time, they had already started building the building that became known as the Outdoor Center. They just really got back to it very, very quickly.
A lot of the growth of the place went on in the 70s to mid-80s. I think we pretty well haven't really built anything new since then. Tough times for a long, long period. Just barely making ends meet. Had to be bailed out by family members and numerous times, and I think it was not good for my father's health because it was so precarious to keep the center going. He died at 54, so quite a young man, cancer. So. Too much worrying, whether you'd actually put all this passion and investment in something, and whether it would survive.
Because of Strathcona's reputation as almost counterculture, a lot of counterculture people came. That wasn't at all the way Myrna wanted to present the place, but that was how it happened.
We weren't a commune because my parents were committed educators. They didn't want people lazing about. They believed in hard work and stewardship and making a difference. There was a lot of passionate people around, and a lot of people just didn't get paid. They just wanted to live in the community.
There's these people that are here that create the foundation of the lodge, and then there's this influx every year. Some new people, some people that return. It just creates this kind of magic. That's definitely something that has kept me here at the lodge, and I've met some people that will be a part of my life forever. It's pretty amazing being able to live so close to the park. We're only a half an hour drive or 10-minute drive depending on where you're going. The access gives more opportunity to be able to try, or even kind of on a whim, if you have that weather window, or I just have the stoke to get out that day. I get to build those connections with people, and I think that is really helpful for me when I'm going out into these spaces to feel like I have people that I can trust and feel comfortable with. Having people to kind of mentor you or teach you things, kind of push you out of your comfort zones a little bit. Ultimately, then you can give that back to other people too.
How does Strathcona Park Lodge facilitate generating outdoor culture in our area? We obviously have lots of ex-employees that do all sorts of writing and have their own companies and everything else. And in big picture, they're all part of the team doing the job of getting people out there. We are always supportive of those people if they need equipment or help, suggestions, or even line people up for, we don't provide that service, but if you need this kind of mountain guide for that kind of work, try these people here, they might be able to do something for you. And you try to support each other in that way to get people in the outdoors and get people in Strathcona Park. We take pride in the whole concept of stewardship of your local area, because I think where there's success, where there's people that live in the rural areas and they're stewards of the land, and they actually are living out there and they care what goes on and they hope for long-term sustainability. It becomes part of your culture and you hope to pass it on to people, because I think the modern urban world, people don't ever set that kind of roots down. The biggest thing we can do is promote self-propelled recreation, not flying in or using roads, but actually having to paddle or walk. Then you can actually get to places no one else can get to, and you have more respect for it. But it's also a very healthy lifestyle, and it's easy to have no trace sort of philosophy when you're going to these areas. We certainly take pride that we have areas that we've probably had 10,000 school kids over the last 50 years have camped in this area. And you won't be able to see any sign of it, right? We take everything we touched, and every last piece of charcoal has disappeared from the site if you had a fire, and you want to make sure the next people that come have the same experience, that it seems wild.